Variable scope simply indicates the boundary where the variable can be accessed. We have the global and the local scope. For the most part, variables in PHP only have a single scope, and it spans within the included and required files as well. We'll talk more about the scopes once we get to the object-oriented PHP, but when you define a variable like this, for example, it is in a global scope, meaning that it's available throughout the script. It will also be available to the scripts that are included after using the include or require statement. So for example, if I did include script1.php, the variable x will be available within that file and I will be able to use that. So let me do that quick. Let me create this file and let's echo x from here. Now if we refresh the page, it prints it just fine. If we try to change the x here to say 10 and we go back to the index page and we try to echo it out here, we refresh the page, we're going to get 10. On the other hand, when you define a function, variables within that function have local scope and are limited to the local function scope. For example, if I define a function foo here and I try to echo out x from here, and let me comment these out, and I'm going to call the function foo here, and we refresh the page, we're going to get the warning undefined variable x. And that's because every variable within the function has local scope. For variable x to exist here, we have three options. One is we define the variable within here, something like that, and now x will equal to 1. Another option is that we define that as a parameter and we pass that in as an argument, like this, and now we refresh the page and it works. The third option is using the global keywords to access the variables in the global scope. So to access the variables in the global scope, you simply add the global keyword to the variable. So like this, global and x, and now x will be accessible within the function. If we refresh the page, we're going to get 5. You're also able to change it. So if you change x to 10, now it will print 10, but this actually is a reference to the original variable. So if we go here and echo out the x, we're going to get 10 as well and not the 5. PHP stores global variables in an associative array called globals, where the key is the variable name and the value is the variable value. So you could access them that way instead of using the global keywords. So for example, we could here instead say global x and echo that out and remove this from here. We refresh, and as you can see, we're getting 5. Now you could also change that the same way. So we could set this to 10, we refresh, and it prints 10 from both places. The globals variable here is what's called a superglobal, and PHP offers some more superglobals that you could use. This superglobal and the global variables in general are something that you should avoid at all costs. It makes code harder to read, harder to maintain, and a lot easier to introduce bugs. Instead of doing it like this, you should use the function parameters and function returns to get the data in and out of the function. We will talk more about the other superglobals, which are useful, like sessions, cookies, requests, and so on, later in the course. So let's move on to another topic, which is static variables. A static variable is just a regular variable with a local scope. The difference is that the regular variable gets destroyed outside of the scope boundary, while the static variable does not get destroyed and it retains its value. For example, I created a function here called getValue, which does some kind of processing and it gets the value from a very expensive function, but before returning the value, it might do some kind of processing with that value and then return it. Because in real application, you would probably do some sort of processing with the value and then you would return it. So let's assume that for now. Let's implement the very expensive function here, and we can simulate that by using the sleep function to have the script sleep for a few seconds. Now here we can do echo getValue. And let's add a break line and we refresh the page. It's going to wait for 2 seconds and it's going to print 10. Now, what if you needed to call this function multiple times? Because you might want to get that value from multiple places, right? I'm just going to duplicate it this way just to showcase how it would work. But in real application, you would probably call this from different parts of your code. But the idea is same. If I refresh now, it's going to sleep for 6 seconds because we're calling it 3 times. And each time it's calling this some very expensive function that does some calculation and returns the value. Now this value does not really change, right? Because we're not passing any arguments here and we're not passing any arguments here. It just returns some kind of data after doing some expensive processing. You could use static variables here to cache this, and you would do that by using the static keyword. So you would add static value and set the default to null, and then here you would check if the value is null, then you set the value to whatever this function evaluates to, and then otherwise you just return the value. So now if we refresh the page, it's only going to sleep 2 seconds and it's still going to print 10 3 times because we're returning it here. But if I were to add echo statement within here, this is going to be printed only one time. If I refresh, it's only printing the first time. If I remove the static keyword here and I refresh, it's going to be printed 3 times. And it is. So as you can see, static variables can be useful to cache things like this. Now, this is just a simple example and use case of the static keyword. There are more use cases and more things to know about it, and we'll cover more things with the static keyword once we get to the object-oriented programming. This is it for this lesson. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this lesson and want to see more, please give it a thumbs up to help with the YouTube's algorithm, and I'll see you in the next lesson.